Cloughjordan in County Tipperary is home to Ireland's first eco-village. Established on land purchased over 4 years ago, it will be the future home to a community of people who are striving to live a low-impact way of life. I'm on my way to Cloughjordan to meet the people behind the project who bought the land and came up with the idea of establishing the eco-village. Iva Pocock is one of its founding members.
4 years ago we bought land just adjoining the already existing community, and we're building about 130 homes on part of that land. We're keeping the rest of it for producing food, for growing trees. We have an enterprise centre included in the development, and we also are looking at our means of transport. We have a car sharing scheme and we have a local train station here as well. The inspiration behind the idea of the eco-village was that we would have access to land for growing food. By growing your own food and by eating locally, you can reduce your ecological footprint significantly.
In our current climate, people are striving to find new models of development, and Cloughjordan is an eco-friendly way to proceed. People here buying into the project become in effect an eco-developer, where they own their share of the entire land bank, including amenity areas, farm and woodland. Iva believes it's a model for the future and is already living there with her family.
The nub of what we've done is that we ourselves, the future residents, are the developers of our homes and of our land. So rather than profit going to a developer, to a private developer or development company, that profit is being put back into our development.
Although this will be the first eco-village of its sort in Ireland, there are many eco-villages across Europe. This passive village in Austria features zero-carbon houses built using passive house design. It's an example of how the carbon revolution really can start in our homes. However, the recession has had a severe effect on the number of people house building. And I wonder if the founders feel confident that they can see the project through.
We're very proud of the fact that we are, one of the few places in Ireland that house building has actually started in the last year is here. And I mean, obviously it is affecting people's individual incomes, but we're confident that we've sold enough sites, that we have enough building that we will weather the storm.
And have you got sites still for sale here, by the way?
We sold about 2/3 of the sites, but we still have sites for sale.
So how many houses are built so far, or what's going on site at the moment?
The building has started in the last year, and there's about 10 houses under construction so far. And the first people will be due to move in the next couple in September. And the houses are being rolled out over the next year and a half, basically.
However, with just 10 of the 130 planned houses currently under construction, new homeowners could be living on a building site for longer than anticipated. One of the first couples who have started building at Cloughjordan is Fiona Nolan and Raymond Keane. Fiona is a family support worker and therapist with the HSE. And Raymond is a director with his Dublin theatre company, Barabbas. Fiona and Raymond have lived in Churchtown, County Dublin, for over 20 years. They bought their first home in 1996 and sold it in the boom time. The profit allowed them to buy their current house and extend it. Now they plan on leaving it to their 2 sons while they settle in Cloughjordan. This is a huge change for both of you, moving from Dublin all the way down to Cloughjordan. Why are you making this big change?
Over the last few years, I mean, what would be described as a Celtic tiger, I know I have been getting sicker and sicker of, I suppose, the values that drive the society. You can even feel it in terms of the pressure when you, say, go out shopping, fighting your way through something, or I'd find myself sitting in traffic, getting completely stressed just about getting from A to B because of the number of cars on the road. Cloughjordan represents something different, which is trying to create something that's better, trying to create something that's a healthy way of life. I suppose that's essentially why we want to make the change.
Both are fortunate to have flexible careers, and they can take their work with them to Cloughjordan.
It may take me a little while to move lock, stock and barrel, if you like, but, nowadays you can. You can run a business from anywhere now, and it might be a really nice place actually to run a theatre company from. So it happens my manager and producer, Maria Fleming, and her husband and 2 children are moving to Cloughjordan as well.
And my best friend is moving as well. She's our next door neighbour.
Right, so there's a lot of people like that, but there's a lot of creative people moving in, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I just think the whole project, it's just a phenomenal visionary and creative way of making a sustainable community in all aspects.
Is it all positive though, or has it got its own problems?
No, it's not where we'd like it to be, as in we'd like to have far more houses started and built and whatever, but bit by bit we're chipping away at it and it's not falling apart, it's actually getting stronger,
How do you feel it's going to work out for you?
Be totally honest, it gets really frightening, and I get, a lot of fear comes in, and can I live there, and do I want to live there even? All those questions are still there, but on top of all that is this extraordinary attraction to the possibilities that it will open up for us.
What are you most looking forward to?
Well, myself, I'm looking forward to a change of pace. I'm looking forward to, being in a community of, let's say, like-minded people. I suppose a sense of working towards a common aim.
And what about you?
Would that inspire you? Yeah, I'm totally inspired. And, I sometimes see it a little bit like it's like a looking back to move forward. There's a notion that we have a central post place. It's just the concept of it is really nice in these terms, is that, if you have to go there to collect your post, let's say you notice somebody hasn't picked up their post for a week. Well, you might think, I might go and knock on their door, see how they are. That's a really nice way to look at life, that we start looking after each other again.
I'll be back in part 2 when we can see how Fiona and Raymond's house is progressing and how soon they can have a new home to move into. When building or renovating, there are generally 3 deciding factors concerning roofs: aesthetics, durability, and of course, cost. These days, there is such a variety of shapes and materials for roofing available, all at different prices and sizes. It's hard to know what's best for your house. Choosing the right roof is an investment into the future of your house. In the short term, cheap materials may save you money, but in the long term, they may end up costing you a lot more. There are plenty of options available, many of which are cheaper than older, more traditional roofing materials. Concrete interlocking tiles are laid with a single lap. They're a very common and much cheaper choice and are relatively low maintenance and reasonably durable option. Similarly, cement fibre slates are a man-made product that have been designed to match the appearance of the natural traditional slate and also have a double lap. However, like the concrete tiles, after about 20 to 30 years, wear and tear can take its toll on these man-made materials, and they can become brittle, cracked and warped, or can be bleached and discoloured as a result of exposure to frost, solar heat and UV rays. Sheet metal roofs, such as copper and zinc, were very popular in 18th century domed classical buildings throughout Ireland, and can still be seen today. Although metal roofing is an expensive option, it's still used today for curved barrel-shaped roofs and can be aesthetically attractive for the right building. Of all the various roofing materials available to us in Ireland today, my favourite is one that has been around for over 1,000 years. And Georgian Dublin is a testament to its strength and its durability. Slate is a beautiful natural material that comes in many different shapes and colours. The most popular in Ireland is known as Bangor Blue Slate from Penryn Quarries in Wales, which was the slate of choice for most Georgian Dublin buildings. In addition to its aesthetic potential, the durability of natural slate is perfect for Irish buildings because of the stormy weather and heavy rainfall that frequently occurs. Unlike more modern, cheaper products, natural slate requires very little maintenance. It's highly impervious to water, so moss growth and staining is much less likely to happen. When laid properly, natural slate roofs can survive for at least 100 years before they even require maintenance. And Georgian Dublin has many slate roofs which are still intact 200 years after they were originally built. Although natural slate usually has a very long lifespan, it isn't uncommon to see slate coming loose from our historic roofs. And a lot of this damage can be attributed to the corrosive nail fixings that were used at the time. When fixing slates, copper nails should be used, but for extra fastening against extreme storms, stainless steel hooked clips like this are ideal. As flat slates don't interlock, they're double lapped and they need a good headlap to avoid wind-driven rain penetration. Headlap is the double overlap between rows of slates. In this very steep pitch roof, it only requires a 75mm headlap. At a steep 70-degree pitch, a smaller side lap allows you to space the slates out, saving on the cost of this precious natural material. Pitched roofs form an integral part of Irish architecture, and for hundreds of years, quarries in North Wales and even some European countries have supplied Irish builders and architects with this beautiful natural material. Down through the centuries, Bangor Blue Slate has not only made a major contribution to Irish historical architecture, but has proved its durability and functionality as an effective modern roofing material for future Irish buildings. Fiona and Raymond are relocating to Ireland's first eco-village. But moving house and home and changing to an experimental way of community living takes time to adjust to.
And sometimes I want to run away from it as well, like, to be totally honest. It gets really frightening.
I paid a visit to their site at Cloughjordan to see how things are progressing. Fiona and Raymond's architect, Paul McNally, specialises in ecological design. However, their new home in Cloughjordan is designed to passive house standards, which poses its own set of challenges.
As you can see, the site is quite small. The access is on the southeast corner, and we're trying to build a low-energy house which requires lots of south-facing glazing. So the shape of the building was trying to resolve privacy issues, but also having south-facing glass.
Right, and of course the south boundary here is very close to the house too, isn't it, Fiona?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That created quite a difficulty, didn't it?
Well, I suppose it was, but I mean, it's as big as most people have, but what the advantage of the village is that there's lots of communal space, so there isn't the same need for instance, a big garden.
And it's good that it's dense and tight like this, and it's not, you know. So what's the layout here, Fiona?
Okay, well, it's 3 bedrooms up on top.
Can you take this off?
Yeah. This is all the open plan down here, so you have the kitchen here, dining and sitting room, and the front door coming in there, group room here, and a kind of a toilet and utility down at the back.
Right, and I see you've got a big roof light now over the staircase.
That's right. We've fully glazed the roof over the stairwell, so it's going to be nice and bright. And we've also got a balcony which is also south-facing, which is going to let lots of natural light into the circulation part of the house.
That's over the entrance?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and is this a balcony here too? On the west?
Yeah. So that means you can pop out from the master bedroom or from Raymond's den, and you're looking at your nice garden from upstairs.
So Raymond can have his fag there.
Right, absolutely, out here.
Very unhealthy habit.
And what is your biggest challenge, Paul?
I think getting to grips with the technology of building a passive house. It's still new territory, even for myself and for anybody in this field. So working with the Passive House Institute in Germany to get the detailing right, to eliminate cold bridging, get the air tightness detailing correct.
Is it costing you more now to get this?
It is costing more in the short term, but we're going to save in the long term. And I think, you know, down the road, if we ever need to sell it as well, it's going to make a difference because it'll hold its value, you know, in terms of the rating going for the time.
When a house is built to passive house standards, it is extremely energy efficient. It's oriented in design and layout to maximise useful solar gain. A passive house is so well insulated, it can even be heated with the toaster. In 3 days' time, Fiona and Raymond will have the skeleton of their new home in place. They're using a timber frame structure, but what's special about it is the use of a closed panel external wall element with a breathable wood fibre board on the outside and an OSB board fitted on the inside. This method provides an accurate and fully engineered structure with factory-controlled workmanship and insulation already in place. This is done to the high NSAI standards and with reduced risk of weather damage or disruptions on site. This is the external wall panel of Fiona and Raymond's house, and it's a closed panel system and it's new to Ireland. And what we see here is 200 millimetres of studs with 200 millimetres of thermal hemp insulation fitted between the studs. On the outside we've got 60 millimetres of Gutex wood fibre board, and then on the inside we've got OSB. When the joints of the wall panels are tightened and fastened together, the external cladding can then be fitted. Later on, when the house structure is waterproofed, the inside service cavity and interior finish can be applied on site. There are many benefits of living in an eco-village. Fiona and Raymond won't need to install their own boiler, as hot water is already available from the community central boiler and then distributed to the whole community by district heating. And you're heating these houses now from renewable energy, all of them, is that right?
Yeah, we have a district heating system running throughout the eco-village, which is supplying hot water generated by solar panels and wood chip boiler. So every home has a plug-in to a hot water pipe essentially, and that will be metered so that you can use that water for heating, but also for hot water, for showers, for washing. And then you'll pay according to how much you use.
Fiona and Raymond are aiming to live a low-impact way of life. Building a passive house is a major step in this direction, and I hope things work out well for them. Two months later, Raymond is busy preparing for Dublin's Theatre Festival.
I am up to my eyeballs at the moment, so Fiona's doing all the work on the house. But you know, that's her skill as well. She's really good at, you know, making the choices, and I just say yay or nay, but mostly I just trust her. Yes, we are worried that it will be a building site for a while, but you know, everything is on a slowdown these days. I think everybody has to make a compromise, particularly in the building world.
Raymond's business partner Maria Fleming and her family have just got their planning permission for Cloughjordan, and she has high hopes also.
We've been down quite a lot. We'd go down for the members' meetings, but we'd also go down for events like the launch of the building phase, the AGM. So we've been up and down a good few times. I'm sure given the nature of the people who have moved down to Cloughjordan, there's going to be a lot of theatre and drama involved in the village.
There's a sort of a little dream plan happening in Cloughjordan. Our big mound of earth that we took from the site where we built our houses is still there, and some of the proposals include building an amphitheatre with it. Because I've been so busy, I don't have a minute these days. You know, weekends, everything I work. You know, so hopefully in about a month's time I might get down again. You know.
While Raymond is busy in Dublin with work, the responsibility of the build falls on Fiona's shoulders. As one of 140 members, Fiona attends presentation meetings monthly to update herself on progress and ideas in Cloughjordan. Today, they're deciding on how to divide the land into woodland, amenities and communal farming.
Create some kind of space, refuge around here, and then around here for those houses.
Already, there's a real sense of community at Cloughjordan, as many of the residents know each other already and have met future neighbours at the smaller cluster meetings.
Behind us here are Heather and Tony, and Tony's one of my best friends. And there's Des and Patricia back there, and then further back there behind those two houses there's a terrace of 3, and they're all people that I know as well because we've all been working as part of the same cluster.
Are there any other issues?
Cluster meetings bring future neighbours together regularly to update each other on the build and share information.
Tests and things like that?
Well, no, I don't think it affects you as much as it affects Peadar because they're coming, you know.
It's very hard work at the moment, and there are times when it's stressful, but I feel very optimistic about it, and particularly when you go to a meeting and you maybe get a presentation about something like there was today, and you just see just the breadth of vision, and I think it's going to be an exciting place to live. So, you know, I suppose that's what sustains us all, you know, is the vision.
and you can almost feel that vision when you see the surrounding countryside. But the reality is still some time away, with the recession playing its part in holding up finance and plans for so many people. To date, 2/3 of the sites have been secured out of the 130, with the remainder still for sale. Construction has begun on 18 homes, but it may well be 2 years before the village is complete, if everything goes to plan.
I think people have got a bit nervous, and because it is such a unique development, I think there are a lot of people who, once they see it's going to happen, will opt in.
But with record numbers attending the open days twice monthly, members can feel hopeful about the remaining sites being sold in due course. We'll be back later in the series to see how things are working out for Fiona and Raymond.